Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are not going to be having any gameplay, but I'm here to talk about the Eco Cup 2.0, which has just started. Over on my Metagame page, I'm offering different stuff to my members. I have my guides, I have my articles, I can write with people back and forth when they're preparing for a tournament, try and set them up for success. And one of my newest initiatives that I'm especially proud of is the Eco Cup. That's basically a members-only tournament where I'm inviting a small handful of VIPs in order to battle it out against the barons over there of my members. And the first version had Bosch and Roll and Eternal Weekend winner Larson, the breakfast specialist. 16 players battled it out. The results are already up on MTGO debate. And yeah, I thought, why not double the participants for 2.0. So for this one, I have 32 players. My special guests are Extortion, Eternal Weekend Vintage winner. We have Lampalot, Death and Taxes legend, good friend of mine. Loved this celebration at the PT, by the way. And we have Matteo Blasi, Paper Crusher from Italy. So it's going to be these three guys battling out against 29 members. And yeah, I can't recommend this enough. If you want to play in 3.0, definitely head over to my Metagame page. And yeah, I want to give special priority to new members for 3.0. So yeah, don't waste your time. With the $10 tier, you will secure your spot into 3.0, which will have, you know, awesome prizes as well. We have some treasure chests here. And for this 2.0, we have this. Oh, this is so beautiful. So Jesper Ising, a local artist, local of mine rather, doing arts for Magic, and this Swords to Plowshares gold signature, and I even got him to make this special inscription of the first place. This will be the first prize for this tournament, and yeah, that speaks for itself. An unique collectible here. So today's video is going to be me going through all the 32 decks that got submitted. I have not looked at them yet, so I'll go through them real time and try and highlight some of the tech, and yeah, let's see if that works. So I did import them all here. Let's see if this works. Okay, perfect. Okay, big sideboard cards. We joked a little bit about that before, but today it's not for jokes. Super serious. So here it looks like we have Esper, mid-range. I'm saying mid-range because no Nethergoyf, no Delvers. We prioritize the good removal spells here in exchange for worse mana base. We kind of went over this before. Only one Graveyard Hate in the main deck. We're still running 4 days, which is a lot when you're not, you know, jamming Delver or Nethergoyf. Only a single Kaito. Also worth noting is my tournament is open deck list, so that makes certain strategies a little bit better, certain strategies a little bit worse. Let's see what's in the sideboard here of good old Bobby. So one more ending makes sense. Good chalice removal. We all know that. Flexible. We have 3 Consigns and a Harbinger to fight against the Colorless Menace. Some anti-combo cards. Anti-red / Delver / Sneak. Toxic here. Okay, that's interesting. Surgical Nile Spellbomb Cage Split to go with the Spellbomb. So 4 graveyard, 8 total. And then a single Plains to back up the white spells. So yeah, mid-range deck. You get to play a lot of the game, and you hopefully have game against everything. That's kind of the logic for signing up with a deck like that. Let's see what Brendan brought here. Brendan. Okay, so no Reanimator here. Brendan is trying to also play the fair game. Basically the same strategy, except we now have to play Fatal Push, Murderous Cut instead of Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, I guess that's more or less it. A little bit lower on the Strix here. 20 lands, so there's a little bit of personal preference there. Second Planeswalker. Sideboard has some spice here. Subtlety. Okay. Bloodchief's Thirst, like that in a Tamiya world. And then we're trying to have our Graveyard Hate also attack for 3 out of the Voidwalkers. Okay, so blue mages so far. Ooh, now we're talking. Now we have Death and Taxes splashing red. Usually you choose between splashing black for, you know, Bowmaster, Thoughtseize, stuff like that. Maybe a little bit of Ketramose. But here we're splashing for Pyroblast and the Bombardiers plus a Johnny combo. I really like that. So I have high expectations for this deck, especially when we just went through some bare blue strategies. The Vial, very awesome against, Blood Moon counters, stuff like that. Let your deck play at instant speed. Be very hard to play against. So, and the main deck Magus here for some pesky Eldrazi opponents. I like that a lot. Up next, looks like DK brought Red-Green Initiative. So this deck is near and dear to my heart. Around a year, I guess a year or is it 2 years already? Time really flies. I was able to top 4 or top 8 a Legacy Showcase with this deck. This was before the One Ring, I remember. I was basically just jamming 4-drops turn 1, and then occasionally it would be uncounterable, or a cast turn 1 Mac is uncounterable. The cool thing is here, Cavern naming human powers out Magus and KZK's Adventurer, but not the Undermountain Adventurer. So there's a little bit of stuff to think about there. Obviously, Bombardiers and Fable are the glue of this deck, kind of like the Mono Red Prison deck. Classic sideboard here where you're trying to handle as much as you can of the format, but realistically you can't. I really love the 2 Null Rods here, though. Those are going to be quite awesome if Painter shows up in this tournament, which it should, It is the new tier 1 deck on the block after all. What about good old MP here? MP, ooh yeah, this is his favorite deck. Flagon mid-range. Flagon is an awesome card that's basically like a Nadu, in the sense that it's the 3-drop. If it resolves, you have an immense advantage. I really like how these 1-drops are just great legacy cards that also will draw you extra cards with Flagon. The Stoneforge package here. You play Shuko for combo potential, Pre-War Formalware for grind, and then Ultra Complete for when things has to go kind of fast. And then Cryptic Code as the ultimate grind element here. That's cool. Sideboard, very classic here. The deck is weak to combo, so we have 4 negations. Deck is, somewhat weak to Eldrazi, so we play a 3+2 package of Consign and Harbinger. A little bit of an upgrade for blue and red matchups, and then 3 copies of Graveyard Hate. So yeah, I love this deck. Personally, I love 80-card version of it, but I think the strategy is definitely viable. Up next, we have actual Tempo out of Eureka here. I know Mike is working on his Tempo game. He's a Dark Ritual specialist, to say the least, and this is a great way to, improve as a player in a very competitive setting. So this looks like the blue-black Tempo deck that I'm currently advocating for. This is my build going into the showcase. This build is trying to hedge a little bit with main deck Graveyard Hate. This build has hard removal on top of the pushes, couple of Brazens for the Swiss Army Knife. We all know this. Pitches to 4s, can attack for 3, deals with whatever. Only 3 Bowmasters, because sacrifices had to be made. Tamios are good, and a standard mana base here. Sideboard, I'm up to 4 Consigns and 2 Harbingers. This is a sign of the times. Only down to 1 Hydroblast. That's kind of the opposite, right? Some Ancient Tomb players give up on the red deck. They play Eldrazi. Those are the ones I'm trying to meet in the door. And then standard stuff like some mid-range cards, some removal spells, and a little more Graveyard Hate. Next up, we have Ford here. Wow, okay. So this looks like super similar to what MP was bringing to this tournament. Actually, incredibly similar. No Cryptic Coat, though. Let's see. So this is the Bant Nadu Plagon deck. Again, powered by Tameo, Mana Dorks, and Stoneforge. A little bit of combo potential with the 1 Shuko. We are consigning, blasting, negating, upgrading blue, handling graveyard, playing a flexible disenchant, and then we have an equipment removal spell for creature matchups here, which is awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see all these blue mages. Can't say enough about that. So here's Harain, an avid Dreadnought enjoyer, and it looks like he did not disappoint here. So let's check the Saga package here. We have a Saga package of Petal, Soul Guide, and Dreadnought, so not the biggest Saga tokens, but Sagas are kind of acting like Dreadnought 5 and 6, and gives the deck another angle. We have Ancient Tombs, and we're trying to take advantage of that mana boost with the Stock Ups and the Null Drifters. We do have some blue protection here, and the white removal spells to, you know, play a normal game of Magic. And then on Harane's behalf, I'm hoping these Storekeeper Thralls and Dress Downs and Torpor Orbs are doing, you know, stuff on the other side of the table, as well as enabling his own Null Drifters and Dreadnoughts. Let's see, sideboard, hard removal. I will note that Rest in Peace is slow Graveyard Hate. If you get Entomb Reanimated on the draw, this is not going to help you. Cage, flexible white removals. This could be a nod to the Painter deck. Little bit of upgrade for blue matchups in Hull Breacher, and then some standard blue stuff here. Okay, we're super excited for that one as well, especially because Harane is fueled by passion. Oh, up next we have Joey here with Temur Delver. Temur Delver is definitely a deck that that I'm going to be looking into for this weekend showcase as well. I think it's well set up because Aeroblast is good, and because Lightning Bolt actually kills most stuff. Looks like Joey's hedge here is a little bit more Baragov hate here with the Unholy Heats. 18 lands. I like 19 lands in this deck. I'll usually cut a Preordain for a Surveil land. It's nothing major. One negation in the main deck. Not because it's great, but because it kind of allows you to have 16 sideboard cards, which is basically what makes room for maybe the Price of Progress or the Dismember. Other than that, standard stuff here. Anti-Graveyard Hate. Pyroblast, a little bit of chalice removal that you can also bring in for the mirror. Up next, Jonathan here. Is this the first blue-black Reanimator deck? I believe so. So let's see, anything special about this build? Not really. Down to 2 dazes. Yeah, I mean, it's a reasonable play to make. A 4 Thoughtseize. Okay, so I like a 3/3 split. Jonathan likes 4 and 2. Nothing major. Couple of Wastelands. Couple of Surveils, I like that a lot. Only the classic 2 monsters, and then a couple of Murktides, and a Baragov for plan B. 2 Consigns, 1 Hydro, so very low on the classic reactive cheap cards against the Ancient Tomb decks. This could be Jonathan saying, I have a plan A that you have to worry about. I'm not worried about you, which is very reasonable. Same thing here with just a single negation saying, on the back of my own game plan and the Thoughtseizes, I'm feeling comfortable against combo. Engineered Explosives, mainly an answer for Chalice. Leyline, I like that one. Couple of Voidwalkers, you know, great in the mirror, attacking, Graveyard Hate. Pushes for when things slow down against, you know, green decks, Delver, etc. And then some more upgrades, trying to be a bit more fair. Cool stuff. Up next, this looks like blue-black Delver. You could also tell by the nickname here. Joyful Waffle has been making life miserable for the opponent for a while with playing Delver. I really like this blue-black version because you get the good mana base, you get 8 good 1-drops, you get access to Bowmasters, and you get access to Baragov in the pseudo mirror. So I like this color combo. It's quite strong against the field. I will say, if Painter is, you know, the new deck on the block, we really need to draw this Null Rod. I would probably suggest running 2 copies if you're looking to play this deck in the showcase. But yeah, blue-black Delver can always win games. It's actually a blue-black deck where Daze is reliable, so excited to see how Joyful Waffle does in this tournament. What do we have here? More Dimir. So it looks like I have a type when it comes to my members. So this is actually blue-black tempo. We have the Tamios, we have the Nethergoyf to close out the game. And, you know, no Strixes, a bit more lower to the ground. Still have the Kaitos and the Baragoyfs. 0 Murktide Regent. So that's basically Curdy saying, I'm not particularly looking for your Graveyard Hate to be effective, but you're welcome to bring it in. Again, very low Blue Blast and Consign package here. I'm a bit skeptic about that. I think we need more of these in order to compete, but, you know, could be the right call into this metagame of very many blue decks. Negations, Harbingers, single Toxic Deluge. That card is just amazing if you can draw it. Also, with open deck lists, your opponent sees sees you have one copy, so it's very easy for them to either disrespect the card or the opposite, and you kind of get value from both scenarios when you register one up like that. Paragraph up to 4, really like that card. It's like, yeah, has to get killed basically. Shoot the sheriff, and then some flexible artifacts to handle the graveyard, and some pesky small artifacts. Looks like we have Larson back for more here, the Turtle Weekend Europe champ. I had the pleasure of doing commentary on some of his matches at Eternal Weekend Prague, and he was just a master of his craft. I'm definitely the founder of the Larson fan club. Looks like he didn't change much. I think he changed one ending to a plow, basically because Vexing Bubble exited the format. And then there's -1 to Fairy as well, but I can't really make out what he's running in the place of that 1 to Fairy. I think he had 2 to Fairies at the tournament. But yeah, he's definitely a player to watch here, and I can't I can't stress enough how good he is with his deck. Sideboard wise, there's the second Fairy in the Cavern, so he definitely has a plan here against slower matchups that's relying on Force of Willing the Nadu on the stack. A little bit of Saga flexibility, the best graveyard hate available. And then, four negations. Okay. So 4 negations against other combo decks where I guess he's transforming into some kind of mid-range. And then the pesky Orms chant that will for sure win him some games. Up next, Lampalot, one of my VIPs for this tournament, and he didn't disappoint. He signed up with a Death and Taxes variant, a Novile Ketramos build, Ketramos and Philia, awesome. Philia and Overlord, awesome. Emperor of Bones and Ketramos, awesome. Skyclave is also exiling, Swords is exiling. We even have Cling to Dust here, so Michael is looking to grind away with some of the newer printings. So compared to the list that he did well with back in the day, the only non-land card left in the deck is Swords to Plowshares. That's actually, I don't know. It's fascinating at the very least. Some people will say depressing. Next up, oh, okay, cool. So Martino just decided that Blue Painter is the truth, but this looks like a cool take on it. We're trying to go a bit bigger here with Transmute Artifact to kind of stitch together the combo. We also have Paradox Engine and the One Ring to go absolutely mad here. He's basically saying, I'm not here to play Tameo. I'm not here to play Metallic Rebuke. I'll try and go big here. So huge respect for that. I think this deck is very, very strong and has to get handled in the metagame. Sideboard-wise, he actually has enough starting blue mana that he can reliably cast stuff like Blue Blast and Consigns. Negations for combo matchups. I want to read this. Cyberdrive Awakener. 6 mana. Other artifact... Okay, so your artifacts... Yeah, it's basically win the game card if you have any untapped artifacts, right? Like your Moxes and Petals attack for 4 right away. With flying, yeah, pretty cool. And repeal Catch-All, some Graveyard Hate, and a couple of his members. Up next, let's see if we can get rid of that one. Nice. We have Matteo Blasi. Okay, so the Italian Paper Crusher, who very rarely plays Magic Online, but when he plays in paper, he's crushing the opposition. He's on Reanimator with 3 Wastelands. Let's see, anything else spicy in the main deck? A couple of Bowmasters, hitching a tiny bit, and the couple of Murktides. Sideboard, he really likes the Voidwalkers. A couple of Go for the Throat. So with the metagame we have just seen, these Go for the Throats are not live against Dreadnought, not live against Painter. So we just have to think about that a little bit. The reason to go for the Throat is if you're expecting Broadside Bombardiers and opposing Voidwalkers, right? The main thing for this card is to kill something like Troll and Murktide Regent. So pretty excited to see how this does for Matteo. Max Dortion, another VIP. What is he up to? He's up to blue-black mid-range, I would call it. So basically, when there's no Nethergoyf and you play Baleful Strix, that's mid-range to me. Yeah, pound for pound, great deck. If you like your abilities to, resolve ponders, handle what's going on, make the right micro decisions, this deck is definitely for you. I love the stock-ups and Max's sideboard here because that's saying sometimes I just want to go a little bit bigger, play Magic the old-fashioned way, and outdraw my opponent. So Really excited to see if that works out or that is just a, you know, some kind of gimmick. We actually have another Eternal Weekend champ here. MTGO has decided to join the tournament. Very, very excited about that. And he's also on the Plagon deck, so there may be some secret Plagon alliance here. Maybe they're all lying on the beach and surfing with Plagon, having a field day. Yeah, we kind of went over this deck before. It looks incredibly similar. They disagree a little bit on the equipment package, but other than that, same strategy. One more Death and Taxes deck. Still Ketramos. This is running a lot more Graveyard Hate in the main deck, saying these are good against the field, and these are good with my Ketramos. Really think that is a cool one to think about how you can build your deck so that your Graveyard Hate makes sense both on your side of the table and against the field. White Orchid Phantom in the sideboard, great against the deck with few basics, great against just, you know, versus Saga and Pesky, you know, good lands in general. You have to handle a combo in some form of fashion when you're running a deck like this, but main deck and a ton of Graveyard Hate gives you a lot of sideboard space. I really like that. Let's see. Nick has also brought an Underground Sea strategy, and he's also into the mid-ranging. Very similar to what we have seen before. No Nethergoyfs. This is a full set of Baleful Strix, so this will have a tiny advantage in the blue-black mirror. And then sideboard, very standard. You handle the format, and then you have the mid-range threat that allows you to go slightly bigger. All right, this looks like a fan favorite if I've ever seen one. Pay 1 Fetch has brought, I guess you can call this Miracles, but you only have one copy of Terminus. You do have one Supreme Verdict, so let's just call this Jeskai Control. So you're trying to not die, then you're trying to land a Planeswalker, and then you're trying to win from there. So Chase the Mind Sculptor, I'm always happy to see that card. You're also trying to make your opponent not play the game with Back to Basics, and at the very least, make your opponent worry about that card. Look at this mana base. It's just beautiful to see. Only a couple of duels and then just basics. Love to see that. Sideboarded Mentor. Those definitely bring out good memories. Speaking of memory, we obviously have the Consigns. We have some Blasts and some fast Graveyard Hate and a couple of Lavinia to handle combo. So very straightforward list. Very cool strategy. I'm always rooting for decks like that. I can't really hide that fact. All right, so speaking about decks to root for, here we have everybody's favorite deck, Eldrazi. I like the deck a lot. I think it's awesome to have in the metagame, and I don't think it should go anywhere. But let's see on Monday. Yeah, obviously very good proactive strategy with lots of flexibility, especially from Kozilek's Command, from Thought-Knot Seer, from Chalice, so the opponent never really knows if they're getting wastelanded a couple of times, or Chalice, or their hand is going to get disrupted, or if they're just going to die to like Fleshrake or Kozilek's Command. Or Once Upon a Time is a lot. I think the first copy is very good to draw. Second one, not so much. Sideboard has limited options. I totally agree with the high number of Null Rods, high number of Dismembers. I like Leylines. Battle Mage, I guess, is good against Murktide, and then 4 Disruptor Flute for, you know, the sneak attacks of the world and the Doomsdays of the world and the Nadu decks, right? So very focused sideboard here by Peter. Wow, another, that's amazing. Another Plagon deck. So we have 4 Plagon decks in this tournament so far. Yeah, this looks like a copy of what we've already seen, I believe. One Shuko, the grindy one. Yeah, I mean, these players certainly like that deck. Up next, we have also seen this before, blue-black mid-range. Very, very similar to some of the others. No Nethergoyfs, so we are prioritizing our mid to late game. No ninjas in this deck either. And with open deck lists, your opponent is not going to respect that card. Sometimes if you play close deck lists, Baleful Strix will sometimes eat a removal spell out of the fear of the ninja. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage. But yeah, quite standard blue-black here. Up next, the Grim Lavamancer, a well-known graveyard enthusiast. Looks like standard blue-black reanimator, single Murktide, single Barragoyf as plan B, couple of Bowmasters for the hedge against, playing a normal game of Magic, good against small creatures, good against other Ponder decks. Definitely looks like Bowmasters is well positioned in this tournament. And very standard sideboard. Again, a couple of Voidwalkers, a couple of Fairy Macabres. Yeah, I like that. I think that's very reasonable to basically say, I'm going to handle the graveyard, but I'm also going to do it my way with the Voidwalkers. Up next, my good friend Tua. Tua loves to tinker around with these blue-black decks and has done very well in the past. So let's see if he can do that again. He likes Murktide Regent, it looks like. Murktide Regent being an awesome plan B. It's blue for Force of Will. It's, it's big and warrants spot removal, but spot removal is not very good against the rest of the deck. Very good against Ancient Tomb. I will say that if he runs into the opponent's graveyard hate being Leyline, this is not a reliable plan at all. Then these Murktides are also going to be bad. At that point, he would be relying on Borrower. So with the high number of Borrower, maybe he would be fine overall. Other than that, standard numbers here, I guess 3 Bowmasters is quite high. He even goes up to 4 in the sideboard. And he keeps playing the Coughing Perch here. I like that card a lot last year with Grief Legal, but Tua seems to still like it, so I would guess his mirror match strategy is something like keeping a couple of Entombs in the deck. That's certainly something I've done before. A couple of Bloodchief's Thirst here into a field of many Tamios. I like that call a lot. 3 Pithing Needles. This is kind of cool. So with open deck lists, if you know your opponent's on like 3 Fairies or just 3 Spell Bombs or whatever the case may be, the Needle is very strong. So let's see if that pays out for Tua. And the very last deck, Vajon 99 here. So what did you bring to the table, my friend? You brought Grixis Delver. So Grixis Delver is an awesome deck if you're looking for the Delver deck with the highest card quality, but it's also the deck with the worst mana base. So you have to play Basic Island because of Blood Moon. You have the Hydros to back it up. This Basic Island does not help you cast Molten Collapse or, Channeler Bolt or, other color-heavy requirements that aren't blue. So you do pay a little bit of a price, but you do get the highest quality of the best 1-drops, but also Orcish Bowmasters and awesome Chalice of the Void removal, which can also kill a lot of other stuff. So you get access to the most stuff here. I love the meltdowns. I love the prices. Those are going to be very good. I would have loved to see 3 Pyroblast in the sideboard. The counterbalance should be good against the Ponder field. 4 cages here. He's not messing around. So all in all, this deck could easily do well into this field. This field is very blue dominant, which is maybe to be expected when it comes to the decks that I like to play and why people follow my work over on Metafy. A lot of my guides are very blue centric. So yeah, all in all, incredibly excited for this one. As I said, if you guys want to join the 3.0, which is coming up straight after this one, it'll have cool prizes. It'll have cool VIPs. Go over to my Metafy page and sign up for the Brainstorm Baron tier and secure a spot. And I guess I'll just do a little bit of more content when this tournament kind of progresses and we get into the later stages. So I'll definitely keep you guys updated. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having an awesome day. And yeah, I hope to see you back soon.